Thank you for calling the City of Tulsa Customer Care Center. If you are calling about city utilities including water or refuse, press 1. For all other calls such as municipal courts or code violations, press 2. Please remain on the line and your call will be answered by the next available representative.
Good afternoon. We're calling City of Tulsa Customer Care. My name is David. Who am I speaking with?
Yes, my name is Stephanie Cochran.
I'm going to help you, Mrs. Cochran.
Yes, I've been dealing with harassment, weaponization. It started with the fire department and then over to the police department. And now I've got code enforcement coming to my home whenever my yard's been mowed. And he gave me a citation for high grass for one strip of grass in an area that needed to be weed eated, which I usually poison that and then I cut it so it won't grow back. And what the deal was is he showed up here in on May 17th, early in the morning, right after we had flood torrential rains. And he's in my yard with a stick measuring that grass because, again, my yard had been mowed. My yard was mowed. But he came to nitpick one single.
Well, if any of the grass is over 12 inches high, then it's in violation. If none of the grass was over 12 inches high, then what you would have done is taken a picture of the yard, closed it out as case unfounded.
Okay, well, he singled me out. Okay.
He received a report from a citizen that said that there was high grass at that location, and he came out to investigate that report.
Okay, can I FOIA that report? Because, like I said, sir, I'm not trying to be problematic. I understand the work has to be kept up. I'm sorry?
I can look at the report. What is your address?
My address is 6504 East 5th Street. Are you recording this phone call?
All the calls are recorded for quality purposes so that my supervisor can listen to a random sampling of my recording.
Okay. I understand. I mean,
the job correctly.
Okay. Thank you.
So here we go. There's actually I'm showing two cases here. First one was parking in yard. This one was reported to us on May 17th. No, it failed inspection on May 17th, and it is scheduled for a follow-up inspection on June 3rd.
Right.
The other one is...
I moved the car. But, sir, the reason I had to park my car there...
Very tall grass.
Okay. And see, the reason I had to park my car there was because, like I said, I'm being harassed by employees that work for the fire department, the police department, and it's being weaponized against me. Employees are using their connections within these government agencies, which is David Ashlock and Jordan Ashlock, siren my house up. They drive by and they siren my house, and then they turn it off after they pass, and then their buddies are doing it, their work associates are doing it, now police departments are doing it, and it's been weaponized. It's being used as a weapon to run me out of my home because of an ex-co-worker that used to work for my dad. Apparently she wanted to shut my business down, being a barber, and she's a barber. Just a real long, stupid story. I didn't know this woman was using her relatives.
if you want to file like a harassment charges against the police, I could give you the number for the Internal Affairs.
Okay, I filed with them and I know how to do that. But the thing is, and the neighbor next door, the thing about the car, I mean, I understand there are rules, okay? And so I did move the car and I moved my camera and it actually worked out better for where my car actually being on the driveway. So that will not be a problem. But the problem is the neighbor next door, he said he was writing him a citation for a non-operating vehicle that was parked in his driveway. And my question is, how did he know that that vehicle didn't operate? He said he's seen my property driving down the street, and that's the only reason he stopped. And so he stopped here, and then he's going to write the neighbor a citation for a vehicle that doesn't operate. But can he tell by looking in people's vehicles that they don't run just by looking at them?
Well, okay. An inoperable vehicle could be under one of several things. There could be some kind of obvious sign that the vehicle is inoperable.
There wasn't.
Tires, broken out windows,
Okay.
Missing headlights, and expired tags.
Okay, it might have been
the car must be legally able to drive on the street. It cannot drive on the street legally with expired tags.
Okay, I talked to my neighbor and I'm like, how did he said, yeah, I got to put my car in my garage. And I said, well, just out of curiosity, how did he know it's not running? And he said, I don't know. It's legal. He said there was no flat tires. I mean, you can't tell by look. You couldn't tell. That's what makes it look kind of suspicious. Like he was trying to make it look like he's not singling me out because he's going to take my neighbor too. It looks suspicious like that. And especially the fact that whenever I'm out there mowing my lawn and weeding and doing these things, he parks his car in the driveway or in his yard under the tree, kind of to be like a smart aleck about it. And I'm like, why are you parking? You can't park your car there. They wrote me a ticket. He said, I can park my car here, and then shook his head and laughed and walked off. So.
Well, that is a $1,200 fine. If you see cars parked in yards, the reason the inspectors show up is because a citizen calls us up and says that it's happening. We respond to cases that the citizens have brought to us.
Right. And see, that neighbor has harassed me. His dogs, he cut a hole in the fence and to where he can release his dogs into my backyard.
Harassing you is a private matter. We are not going to get involved in those neighbor disputes.
I understand, but my problem is
something that it's a dispute between neighbors. There is a early settlement protocol at the county.
Okay, I understand that. Can we move on to something else, sir, please? I got that. But my point was just saying that he could have made the call. So does it say, I would like to know, get a copy of that report.
That is confidential. Well, the reporting party is confidential. We can't release who made the report. We can only provide the comments from that. Now, you can see the information that the inspector's going off of in the self-service portal on the City of Tulsa website.
Okay, can you see the report right now? So maybe you could read that report to me.
Yeah, and this one is just. It looks like it was brought. There were two cases. One is the zoning violation, and it says simply parking in yard. The other is the nuisance investigation for the grass. And it says trash, junk, debris, tall grass, and weeds. So,
Okay, when were these reports made? When did people call in on each one of these reports?
they were both submitted to us on May 17th.
Okay, do you see the report where they called in?
I see that's when code enforcement received the report.
So somebody called in and reported me, but you can't tell me who it was?
That is absolutely correct. When we take these reports, we take them in confidence. We assure the person who is reporting to us that we are not going to release their information to the owner of the property. At that point, that citizen who's calling us out, they're just making an allegation. Nothing's been verified. The code enforcer is the one who is verifying and would be pressing charges if it's not taken care of and it results in a fine. And so the code enforcer is who verified that the case was a reasonable case and that there was a violation.
So I can't. How do I FOIA what you're seeing that the calls were made, the complaints were called in?
Okay, you can do an open records request. Go to cityoftulsa.org and search for public records. And that is with an S on the end. On the public records page, there is the form, the fee schedule, and there's a list of the departments. It's under City Experience, has the return instructions, the address and name to send the form to.
Okay, so there were 2 reports called in, 2 complaints called in from my neighbors?
Now, since both of these were received in the same day, it is almost certainly going to be that all of those issues were reported on the same case, that the citizen told us that there was a car in the yard, that there was tall grass and debris. Tall grass, perhaps trash and debris. When the code enforcers received that case, they split it into 2 separate cases, one for the zoning violation, one for the nuisance violation.
Why did they do that?
Because they are handled differently. The fines are different on zoning violations than they are on the nuisance violations. The nuisance or the zoning violation is a more serious offense.
Okay, so what if somebody's got a picture of my car before this happened, or say this code enforcement agent is got a picture of my car in my yard from a previous date, and he takes a picture of that, takes an old picture.
When he came out and did that picture, when he came out there on May 17th, he took pictures of the violations that he found, and those pictures are time stamped. And they are also subject to public records.
And they're what?
They're subject to public records, so you can request those pictures.
Okay, so what I'm saying is that, so you're saying that there was one call made, and then there were 2 different violations.
Correct, yes.
But you can see that somebody called in and complained on me. You've got records of that?
Yes.
And I can get those records by going to cityoftulsa.org.
Correct. Now, when you get those records, it will have the caller's information redacted. So what you'll be able to see is the date of the call, the agent, our agent that took the phone call, and the comments that were put in there.
Okay, can you see that right now?
Lines of citizen reports. Car parked on yard and grass over a foot high.
Okay, can you see those complaints right now? But I can't get them. You can see these reports against my property, right now.
I'm looking at the code the inspections and what the inspector sees after they've been split.
So you're looking at, can you see the complaints?
Sometimes I can find them I can usually find them by the property address. So, 6504 East 5th Street South.
Yes.
History. Okay. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be associated with the citizen's name that made the report, so I can't see that.
But you can see that a citizen made a report against me.
Yes, I can. The reason I can say that for sure is because there is an inspection. The only way possible for there to be an inspection is for a citizen to call in. Now, by call in, reports can be made using the 311 app, available on Apple and Samsung devices, by emailing to us, by calling us, or going to the City of Tulsa website and submitting a report on the website.
Okay.
Using one of those
that one thing that you do know
us.
for sure is that somebody did call in on me.
Yeah. They
Okay.
might not have physically called and made a telephone call. They might have called by
somebody,
email, but yes.
a citizen neighbor made that report against my
Could
property.
have been anyone in the neighborhood.
Right.
It could have been somebody. It could have been a delivery driver making a delivery and seeing it. It could have been a neighbor. It could have been a landlord for a property in the neighborhood.
Okay, what about the part I told Mr. Cummings? I said, sir, and I can prove that it literally stopped raining. The first day it quit raining, he's in my yard with the measuring stick. I was forced to pause what I was doing anyway. Basically, Mr. Cummings came on my property to supervise a job that I was doing myself, and I didn't need him to tell me how to do it.
Yeah. Now, if you were cutting the grass when it was 10 or 11 inches high, then it wouldn't have been in violation.
Right, but it's been raining, like everybody's grass was overgrown.
Yes.
And it still wasn't too high. At that.
I mean, it needed to have been mowed before it got to that point.
Right.
And the rain came.
Okay, for example, say I'm in the middle of doing this, moving things, and then we get torrential flood level amounts of rain in a very short amount of time. So there's no exception for that excess amount of rain.
Yeah, the grass can't go to 12. The guideline is that if the grass is higher than 12 inches, it's in violation. That's just
no matter, and him being here right after the rain felt
in violation.
I felt targeted because he was here right after the rain. He could have came by. When did he get the first complaint?
Coincidental. He was scheduled to come by on the.
When was the report made against my property?
I think it was actually made on the 17th. He came by the same day the report was made, or the same day that they received it.
Okay. So my next question is.
All you have to do is mow the grass before the 6th.
Okay, I've already mowed it. It's all done. I've done everything. I was doing that anyway.
Okay, so we're finished. I want to thank you from the City of Tulsa.
Okay, well, I'm not done yet. So can the city...
Okay, then we're going to talk about something different, not what we've already discussed.
No, with something different.
Okay.
So, say he's driving down the street and he sees a pile of junk. can he, the first time he drives down the street, can he come onto my property at that time without waiting a week to see if I was actually in the process of working when he walks up?
In the very unusual circumstance where they actually have time to stop and do that, yes. If there's code violation, they can write it up.
Right.
They normally do not do that because they don't have time to write up every single violation as they go down the street to their next inspection.
Okay, my question is, should he have to wait at least 5 to 7 days to write that complaint?
That's why the notice gives you 2 weeks to take care of the problem, because they're saying the problem is here right now, and 2 weeks later, if it's still there, it's going to result in a fine.
Okay, that's what he said, and I understand that.
That's
okay.
a notice.
Okay, so
it is not a fine; it's a notice.
Okay.
The notice that comes, or the fine comes when you fail the follow-up inspection.
Okay, and my problem is none of this is a problem to me, but in the end, he said, with a smile and a little smirk, but now, he said, now that you've gotten this notice, now I could cut in the next 2 years, you'll read at the bottom. He said, in the next 2 years, I can come on your property, and if I see anything, I can send contractors without notifying you, and then I could charge you, and if you don't pay for it, I can slap a lien on your property, and if you don't pay it, the county can take your house. He said, I can't take your house, but the county can. So, I mean, I've got a strip of grass that needs to be mowed. But my car was parked under my cameras because not only am I getting harassment from weaponization of the fire department, the police department.
For the next 2 years.
I'm sorry.
So make sure that the grass is kept. I would advise, as soon as it's possible to mow it, mow it. Make sure that there's no trash and debris in your yard. Make sure there's no cars parked on your grass.
Okay, he's already came onto my property.
Intersection to block anything, because once notice goes out, that includes the notice that if you have a repeat offense, it can go straight to
straight to my bank account.
And they can hire a contractor and bill.
See, that's the reason for this.
Administration fee.
This is targeted.
That's correctly.
I feel like this is why he was looking for something to give me a warning about, so he could go into this next step.
All right. So I want to thank you for calling City of Tulsa.
I'm not done talking to you. I have more business questions here.
I have to get to my next call. I cannot continue the conversation on the same thing that we've already discussed.
It's not about the same thing.
Thank you.
Sir, what is your name? Okay, he hung up on me.